What's going on, people? This is Shad Harrison. Today is another Interviews with a Rebel. And today I am sitting down with the creative, the cinematographer, and pretty much the overall jack of all trades, Maze. And we talk about pretty much his story from getting from New York to down here, as well as picking apart some of the things that he actually does, how he actually built his brand online, as well as how does he actually manage doing so many dope things. So go ahead and grab your drink, grab your snack, go run to the bathroom real quick, because this is the Maze episode. What's going on, people? This is Shad Harrison. This is another edition of Interviews with a Rebel. This series is all about me sitting with different creators, entrepreneurs, and really just speaking about some of the life lessons that got them to where they are, and some of the strategies and mindset shifts that actually led them to being successful. So today I actually have in front of me somebody who I've been following for the past couple of months. And I've always, anytime you make a post, I'm always like engaged. It looks completely different than what a lot of people out here post. So it's always very much curated, looks good. So I'm like, you know what? I have to speak to this guy to see who you really are. This is my first time actually meeting you.
No, it is. No, I appreciate the setup we got in here is dope. So
I appreciate it. So we got my man Maze. How's everything going, brother?
I mean, busy. We're working, but we have to. At this point, with everything going on, we have to stay busy. We have to stay creative. So
That is true. So, all right. So before we get started, who are you? And what do you get paid to do?
So, I've been called many things. I've been called a mage, which is basically the magician, I guess.
Okay.
Like I have a background in audio engineering. I have a background in like film, photo, marketing, and then even in the background of that, I have like the SEO, the website development, the actual business, building a brand, not just customer facing, but the back end of it. And so, exactly. So I'm just I'm all over the place. So it gets difficult. It gets pretty convoluted sometimes. So my desk looks insane half the time. But yeah, that's basically what I get paid to do. I have a bunch of clients, a bunch of commercial clients. So small businesses up to medium size, some even branching out to franchise restaurants that I've been working with now. So, yeah.
I feel like you're the first person that I've had on this show who pretty much does a lot of the same things that I do.
Yeah.
So I feel like this conversation can go a lot of different places. So this is going to be fun. So, icebreaker question.
Mm-hmm.
Which music artist do you feel like you relate to the most? And that could be aesthetic, music, message, whatever.
I would have to say probably Bryson Tiller.
And why is that?
Because he is just when I picture Bryson, he's like this, and I hate using this word too much, but like he's this like aesthetic dude, but he's kind of like behind the scenes, but he's wild talented. Like he's so talented, but the reason why I relate to him the most is because he's well known for creating like a piece of music, but not putting it out because he's like, it's not good enough. And I do that. I'm like my worst enemy, like all the time. There's so many posts, there's so many videos that no one has ever seen.
So you got a whole bunch of videos on the vault that you just won't let out.
Sitting on songs. I have songs. Many people don't know. I actually make music. No one's heard. So yeah.
So what is that about? You just don't feel like it's perfect enough, or?
I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. I wish I had an answer for you. I wish I had an answer for myself. But maybe one day we can bless these guys.
Yeah. You gotta let it out, man. You gotta let it out. All right, so I feel like first real question is I feel like everybody has a origin story. So as creators, I've heard these stories go a lot of different ways. So what is your origin story of what led you to being a creator?
So my start, let's see. I'm from the north, so I'm from the cold. Like you guys get an inch of snow here, it shuts down. I get like 12 up there, and we're like plowing through it, driving through it.
You say you're from New York, right?
Yeah, I'm from New York.
So like Buffalo or?
Nah, like kind of central.
Oh, okay.
Central, yeah. But yeah, as a kid, kind of in high school, I played with the camera a few times. Like my parents had got a camera, played with it, took a few pictures, but nothing crazy. And then when I went to college, one of my buddies took a photography class, and I went to college for audio engineering and marketing. But he took this photography class, and he had an assignment. So he's like, "Yo, why don't you come help me shoot?" So I for some reason I have this vivid memory of taking a picture of a deck of cards, and I like use the shadow or use the light. And you know when you have the eye, and this is the moment that I was like, maybe I actually have the eye or whatever. Right. So I moving forward like a year or two ago, no, not ago, a year forward, my girlfriend, still girlfriend now, she got a camera. So I started using that. And then one thing led to another. I kind of fell in love with it. And I started doing weddings. I started doing photo shoots. And then here we are. Now I have more equipment that I actually need.
So what do you shoot with? All right, what was your first camera and what do you shoot with now?
The first camera that I bought was a Canon 6D Mark II. And now no, it wasn't. Now I'm shooting with, we switch on and off between the A7 III and the A7S III. So the big boy. Okay. Love it.
How important do you feel is equipment?
When you're just getting started,
you just can't find anything to shoot with.
Exactly. Shoot with your phone, shoot with the most important thing, and everybody says it, but story. Like if you don't have a story, I pride myself on every video, even like client videos.
What's the story you're going to tell?
Exactly. It's like I can't go in there with no direction. Like you have to have a vision so I can at least make something happen. Right. Because it's my name behind it ultimately. Yeah, people gonna be looking at you when you walk in there and like, all right, well, what we shooting today? People like, oh, that's what you're here for. Exactly. So, but yeah, now we're rocking with the Sony boy. Okay. I'm a Sony boy now. I don't know if I can switch the red Komodo. I don't want to talk about gear too much, but the red Komodo's coming out, so that might be the next one.
I think I'm just kind of key with Canons, yeah. I really want that cinema Canon, the mirrorless joint that just came out. Got the number on it.
Oh yeah. Was it 6? It's a 6. I haven't even kept up, to be completely honest with you, but
it's like D300 or C something.
Yeah.
So, but either way, so what? All right, so when you first started out, what did you love shooting the most of?
Just kind of random, like outdoor stuff. I was always outside. I'm definitely like I'm like a wannabe travel. So, like everybody is. Why would you want to be? But like everything outside. Okay. Anything outside.
So what was the first moment that you realized that, or what was the first gig that you had that you realized that I could actually do this for a living?
Like make money?
Yeah. I feel like we all had that one gig, like we were just doing things, but then that one gig, like, you know what? I love this. The client loved it. Yeah. I can continuously see myself doing this.
Right. I would say probably the first wedding I did. Really? I shot it for like $200. It was the 6D Mark II. I had a glide cam. I was rocking the Nifty 50. Every Canon.
You shot the whole wedding with that?
Whole wedding. And it actually didn't turn out too bad.
Yeah.
But I made that, and I made the film, even with the resources that I was using, it turned out semi-decent. I watched today, and I'm like gagging because it's so bad. But like back for what I had, it was good. So that was the point where I was kind of like, I could probably do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I feel like a good question for you is, especially since you do a lot, I do a lot, and a lot of creators just in general do a lot.
Right.
What do you feel like is your superpower when it comes to creating? What is the one thing you feel like you do better than most people?
I would say probably I wouldn't say, I would call it my edge. I have a little bit of an edge when it comes to like audio. Okay. So when it comes to sound design or just the production side, like recording vocals, dialogue, whatever, I just have that's my background. Right. So I can usually make audio is like 50% of the video and people don't realize it. So like, exactly. So it's like that's probably one, and the other one I would point on would be my story. I had a grandfather who loved telling stories, and I think I just kind of took that from him. I just kind of like absorbed that and all the stories that he told. So now I'm trying my best to, and half the stories he told, Lord knows if they're true, but like, you know, but yeah, probably my story and the audio.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, because I usually say, like, my superpower is I know what people actually want. Like, I understand people enough, so
Right.
even when people like hire me, they might say that, hey, I want this great visual.
Yeah.
But you really want is just to get a whole bunch of eyes on your product.
Mm-hmm.
So I know how to structure everything to make sure that you actually get that, but you still get the great visual.
Right.
But you get the eyes and get people talking about whatever you have going on. So
Right.
I feel like that's what separates me. So, so I know before you said you do a lot of different stuff with, clients and stuff that you have. How did you get into doing, like you said, the website building, the SEO, the social media management? Like, how did you get into all
So I had like a skeleton of an idea up north before I moved down.
that?
That
Who made you move down, by the way?
One of my friends actually was in the Air Force, and one of his best friends, it's like a long story. Basically, one of my friends lived down here. He's like, hey, you want to move down? And I said, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. He just bought a house, and I moved out of that house that we were living at the same time. But yeah, that's why I'm here.
Okay,
One of my
gotcha,
friends.
gotcha.
Yeah. What was the question?
So what made you decide to start doing all these different things, like as far as the websites?
Gotcha. So I think it was I had the skeleton idea of the business I wanted to run. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur of some sort.
Yeah.
I wanted to be my own whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of played around with the idea of like running some small businesses, social medias, and taking some pictures, because I had been taking photos for a good year or two in like up north. And so when I moved down here, I just kind of really took to not only the books, but like YouTube University to figure out how to do this stuff.
Pretty much learn everything up there,
Exactly. So that's kind of where it happened, and the reason why I have clients is just because I do enjoy getting out and talking to people, networking.
Right.
I'm very calculated with like who I keep around and the people that I interact with, because your network is your net worth. So
Yeah. Okay. So I know you said you're big on getting clients, talking to people. There's a lot of people who struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like is the key for creatives to actually get clients, bring in money, all that type of stuff?
So the most important thing is focus on your craft. You got to make it look good. Like whatever you do, just hammer out like 6 months of just studying and learning everything you can possibly know about whatever it is you're trying to do.
Right.
And then you spend the next 6 months just in the DMs of literally everybody. You got to shoot for free starting off, and then the thing with any business is you have to have leverage. So you have to create that leverage by having good content and knowing people. So
do you feel like you got to know people off jump? Because I know when I first started out, I definitely was in people's DMs like heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I would pretty much, how I build up my following, my name is, I would do a video for the person, whoever is in that industry, who had the biggest name, but the shittiest content.
Right.
So it could be a real estate agent who everybody talked about, but her videos were trash.
We're bad, yeah.
Yeah. So I did a video for her, and then everybody that followed her was like, yo, I need you for such and such. And then I just charged. So do you feel like you actually need to know people, or like I feel like there's ways of kind of getting around?
No, I think especially what's coming to the top of my head is like, and it's bad, but like there's a lot of people that are really successful with shitty websites or just shitty social media pages.
Right.
So to your point, I think that's probably a good strategy, is find those people. But again, it comes with like, you're not going to know who they are unless you talk to people.
True. Yeah, that's right.
So it's like my thing is always just don't be afraid to introduce yourself.
Okay.
The worst is going to happen is they're going to say no. They're not going to punch you in the face.
Most people are going to say no.
They're not going to call you ugly. They might, but
They might. So, as I said in the beginning of this, when I first started following you, the one thing that stood out is that you've amassed like a pretty, nice size following, doing your work, and your photos look immaculate. Like,
appreciate it.
Yeah, it looks
Appreciate
sick. What's the inspiration behind your style? Because when I look at your style, I think of like some of the people that are like in LA, like Sam Colder or Matt Como and a couple of those guys like that. So
I don't know. I think it's just like it's like an amalgamation of all influences. Like I just I see things that I like, and I'm just like, how can I make this mine?
Right.
And so, to your point, I do enjoy Sam Colder, Matt Como, Sam Newton. There's a bunch of other big YouTubers out there that are just nice. They just have good content.
Right.
And I just always, if I see something I like, how can I make that myself? How can I tell my story or my point of view, or how can I make a piece of content that's going to help somebody else, or just give them entertainment they enjoy to look at? And as far as building my platform, really, and it's the sauce, but running ads. If you have a good photo and you just put some money behind it, you do have to have money to do it, but run ads, and you have to know how to target them.
Okay.
But that's a lot. That's the sauce. It's good content, talking to people, and another thing that kind of helped me was just some of the people that I know, and that's. I don't know.
Let's talk about ads for a second.
Yeah.
I've actually have a history of running ads, and I realized that sometimes, especially with the algorithm set up right now, even if you put a lot of money, sometimes it doesn't really hit the way it needs.
Algorithm's trash right now.
Yeah, it's horrible. So, like, what are some rules or tips for running successful, let's say, Instagram ads?
Okay, so the first and most important one is when you have when you post something and it has a little boost post thing, don't ever use that.
Yeah.
Because it's not targeted enough, and it's pretty much it's lost in the sauce.
Right.
You got to run through your business like Facebook page. That's the most important thing.
They made that super complicated now.
They did,
Yeah.
but they also did. I noticed they made it's kind of more of a user-friendly version. It's not as granular as the advanced, obviously, but it's definitely a start for people who want to just get into it. But do not use the boost post because it's just like it's lost.
They're sending it out to everybody who likes the stuff already. So.
But as far as targeting, I mean, you got to keep a few things in mind. Who do you want the post to be in front of? What's the caption, and why are people going to read it?
Right.
And the actual content itself. Most important being the content.
Yeah.
The next important being who you want it to be in front of, and then
So would you suggest running an ad on a picture of yourself?
That's what I did.
That's all you
Run ads on every picture you post, because like the more eyes that see it, and it too comes back to targeting. The more eyes. Whatever you want your demographic to be, like if I wanted my demographic to be photographers, I'm going to have to think of, I have an Excel sheets of just keywords, of just like demographics, of hobbies, of whatever. And just kind of run through the list of, this is who I want my following to be, and just target it that way.
Okay.
The old trick used to be, you would go on a big creators page or whatever, you'd find who's liking their stuff, and you would interact with there. But that doesn't work anymore. That just gets you banned.
Yeah.
So that ended before I even like started to.
I probably did that like 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm following all these people, and I have no idea.
You got like 7 million
you're
following, and
half of them are following me back, and it's just
not worth
it was a headache. So
yeah.
Okay. So I believe in the phrase you got to spend money to make money, right? So what is the one thing that you spend money on that has led to the biggest return?
I would say probably the camera.
Really?
Because that was the most expensive one.
Yeah.
So, and it's made back tenfold. Like it's so amazing that there's this, and I still feel like it's overpriced, but there's this piece of technology that you can have, and you can capture like either film or photo or just a moment, and like monetize off it. Like it's insane to me. It's literally like sci-fi to me.
That is crazy. Yeah, I feel like ever since I bought my first camera, I've been pretty much living off of a camera for like the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And that is it's wild to like think about it.
You don't go anywhere without it anymore.
I don't.
It's like an extension of your body. It's pretty nuts.
I know probably a couple weeks ago, like I just had some stuff in my car, and I realized my whole life was my car. I had my laptop, my desktop, and my cameras.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, somebody took my car now, my life is over.
Over. Hope you got photographer's insurance.
Yeah. So I'm like, yo, I'm never doing that again. But it's just crazy to like think that's what my life is now, like of having a camera and a laptop being your whole life. So
do you ever have the camera around so much that you forget to actually be in the moment? I have that problem sometimes.
I was working with a client last Friday, and they had like a grand opening for their real estate brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there just to kind of do like some YouTube content for them.
Right.
And so I was recording, but it was like it's not gonna say a wild party, but it was outside the normal regular real estate event.
Yeah.
So I was just like shooting. And I'm like, I just need to just kind of like
let loose a little bit.
Yeah. And they had open bar, so I had maybe like a drink or two. But I was like, I just need to just sit back and enjoy the vibe of everything that's going on instead of just, all right, let me get this shot. All right, I see some people over there talking, let me get this. Let me get some B-roll. I'm like, let me just sit back and just kind of chill for a second.
I know that life.
Do you run into that a lot?
Yeah. So I'm very sad to mention this, but this year was actually supposed to be a year of like travel for me. I had quite a few trips like out of the country planned.
Yeah.
Obviously got shut down. Right. Maybe that was for a bigger purpose or whatever, but that was one of my fears, is going to travel these places that I never thought I'd be able to see, and just like not actually absorbing it, like not appreciating it in the moment, trying to get that shot. That's why I think shot lists are so important. But
yeah, I've run into that a lot. I used to be the guy that always had his camera, or I was documenting every little thing, and then I realized that I just need to like live in the moment. Because then I realized people look for me to always document, and I can never like really just sit back and relax and just enjoy what's going on. People are like, oh, you got your camera, shoot me doing this.
Yeah.
I'm not really here for that. Like I'm
a human being. I just want to chill.
Right. So people don't really realize that, and it's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I feel like we all learn from some of the L's we take, especially in business.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from having contracts to mostly contract stuff, but it's a lot of things I've learned. What do you feel like has been one of the biggest lessons that you've learned from a business L?
Probably the biggest L's that I've taken were more on the marketing side when I was getting started. Because when somebody gives you a marketing budget, like an ad budget, it's up to you to make sure that there's a return on that. Like when you're running ads, let's hope we get some sort of return. So when I'm okay with losing my money. Like I've spent thousands of dollars and gotten nothing until I realized like this is the actual procedure to get some success. But when I lose other people's money, it's just like I really gotta tighten down and figure this out, because now everybody's mad at you.
That there's especially doing like video work, there's a blueprint of success. Like you do these couple of things, it's going to automatically lead to success. So what do you feel like from your standpoint is the blueprint to be a successful videographer or creator? More so videographer.
Right. All right. So in terms of video, film.
Like if you did these 3 to 4 things, if you gave it to a creator starting out, they could be successful.
Right. The first thing is lighting. You have to figure out lighting because your videos are gonna suck if you don't figure out lighting. So please, like, spend all the time, and you don't have to spend a lot of money.
Not at all.
Just spend the time learning how lighting works. And if you don't have the money to purchase lights, shoot outside. Focus on shooting outside, but learn how to shoot when there's direct sunlight, when it's golden hour, when it's in the morning, blue hour. Just learn the different ways to like use light to your advantage. Audio, like I said, audio is so important. You have to have good audio because it makes it, when you have a good visual, like imagine if you were watching, I don't know. Imagine if you, back then, we used to watch Jersey Shore. Imagine if you were watching Jersey Shore, that was like, and this is a terrible example, I can't believe that was one show I brought up, but you were watching Jersey Shore, it was like super entertaining, but the audio sucked. And like, now you can't hear Ronnie beating up his girlfriend or whatever. Like, it's just like, it just takes away from the experience when you don't have good audio.
True.
So lighting, audio, and just network, man. Just network. Just talk to people, introduce yourself to people. Just be authentic, be you.
Yeah.
And let your work, let you shine through your work. Don't. And this is a problem that a lot of creators and like videographers have, is they tend to undersell their work. Like, you have to, and it has to do with pricing a little bit, but if you don't price your work appropriately, you're gonna have to do dubious amounts of work. You're gonna have to work so hard, and when you're doing so much work for so many people, you're drained. Like, you don't have any time for passion projects, the reasons why you get into this stuff in the first place.
True.
So it's just remain yourself, and just remember why you do it.
Okay. You mentioned something at the end as far as pricing that I feel like a lot of people mess up on, or they don't really grasp, because a lot of people undersell themselves, and then you're doing way too much work. So what are your keys for pricing your stuff correct? What are the things that you think about when you're actually pricing a project, or what have you?
So it's gonna be the complexity. Like, how long is this? How long do I have to be here? Do I have to be here a couple days? Do I have to shoot, or couple hours?
Yeah.
What do you want done as far as visual effects? Because I do a lot in After Effects, and that takes time. Masking, rotoscoping, whatever. That takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And just overall, you kind of, exactly.
Yeah.
What do they want?
Right.
And you have to find ways to, even if they say this is what they want, you have to figure out a way to package it out to almost help yourself. Like, if you shoot a 60-second, let's say you shoot a 60-second ad, make sure you can chop it up into 15-second clips and say, I have $300-400 for each of these a piece.
Right.
And just make it desirable, so it has to be good content at the end of the day. But just take little small things, package it up, and try to help yourself out a little bit more.
Okay. You mentioned something as far as like packaging. I realize that's something that I do a lot of. But I realize a lot of creators don't do that at all.
No.
So what are your thoughts on packaging? To me, it makes all the sense, because if I'm able to package stuff, especially over the course of a couple months, or it's enough content that can last me over a couple months, that means I have more control of the look of a client's brand. I can charge more.
Yep.
And I can kind of be in charge of just the overall presentation of the brand. So, like, what are your thoughts on packaging? Like, I feel like everybody should do it, but
I mean, it's, for what I do, it's so essential, just because I do a lot of the pieces, the marketing, the content itself, the back end.
Right.
So, like, I have to package it. But if you're just doing one thing, if you're doing photos, even just however you price your photos, sometimes it's better to go to a client and say, hey, look, I'm going to charge you $15 per edit. Yeah. Because in the back of your mind, just because of who they are, they're going to want more photos. Right. It just depends.
You can't just get somebody 10 photos and believe that's going.
Exactly. Yeah, you just have to, it's kind of case by case basis, but you just have to learn how optimize your work and really get the most out of it, but also being honest, like delivering what you're supposed to.
Because clients now, they actually want more content.
Yeah.
Yeah, so instead of charging them for just one thing, you might as well at least give them the option of being able to get more out of one session.
Right.
Instead of just offering, even if you're doing a commercial, instead of just offering a commercial, you might want to get them behind the scenes.
Right.
I want to get product photos and, little short 30-second, 15-second clips that they can use for, the social media, what have you.
Exactly.
So the more that you're able to package, the more it's better just for everybody. So
yeah.
All right. So one of the last questions before I let you go is, you do a lot. You're great at what you do.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. What advice would you give yourself 5 years ago? The 2015 version of you. 2015
Mace. I would say, I would give him. I would tell him a few things. I would say, number one, you should start earlier. Like just let it hit you. Let the whatever that feeling was that you got when you started making videos, just let that hit you earlier. Just do it. And don't let anybody like talk you out of it. Like I had so many people that were like, "This is stupid." Like you're weird. Like you're weird for doing people project how they feel about themselves onto you. So you just got to take it with a grain of salt. Have some round shoulders. And I can gladly say, humbly say, like I'm proud of where I am now, and I'm proud that I didn't listen to those people.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That makes a lot of sense in the world to me. So I'll probably tell myself the same thing. The one thing I would add is be more consistent.
Yes. I have that. See, the problem is like what you and I do is we do so much, we offer so much that we get so busy we forget to focus on our own content. So it's like.
That's why we shooting all these one day.
Exactly. That's why it's one after another.
Yeah. Just so I can be consistent, because that is a major problem. I feel like not only me but other creators, especially when you create for other people, that you don't have time for yourself. So,
exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, cool. So as we wrap this up, where can people find you at? And what's a major project that you're working on that you're excited about? Actually, what's the next passion project of yourself that you have coming in the pipeline?
So
that you could talk about.
I've always enjoyed screenplays. I'm a huge nerd when it comes to movies. Christopher Nolan's my favorite, obviously. I don't know, I say obviously, but
favorite Christopher Nolan movie?
Probably Dark Knight.
Okay.
Probably Dark Knight. But yeah, I'm working on a few ideas in my head of some screenplay, short film ideas. Nothing concrete yet.
Okay.
But I'm enjoying the process of just being creative, just kind of waking up out of a sound sleep and just start typing or start writing.
Gotcha.
That, and of course, I'm always trying to do short films. I just dropped a short film. I don't know if you saw it, but I dropped a short film on my YouTube, and the basis of it was I got a DM from a younger kid, not too much younger than me. I think he was only like 16 or 17. But he asked me, "How do you find your passion?" And I was kind of taken back because it's like, why would you ask me for that advice? Like,
somebody that you didn't know?
Sometimes I'm like, I don't even know if I know what's even going on. But the fact that he asked me, I was like, I have to give him an honest answer. And I feel like now I've kind of got an idea of what my passion is. I haven't found the direction as where it's going to go. But as far as what I love to do and where I spend most of my time, it's this. But yeah, he asked me that question. I answered it, and then I just kind of prompted me I just wrote a little something. And I used it as a voiceover and just went out one day. It was literally the day after we got the A7S III. We went out and shot at night because we wanted to try it out in low light. But fun fact,
I saw that video.
The entire video was shot in the A7 III. We didn't even use the A7S III. I don't know why, but yeah, that was the last one we did. I have a few ideas of short films. I just have to find the time to make it happen.
Okay, cool. So where can people find you?
You can find me at Where's Mace, WHEREISMAS on everything, Instagram and YouTube. I actually don't use anything else really. I don't use Twitter that much or Facebook. So yeah, Instagram, YouTube, check me out. Check out the team. I'm wearing the Where's Co. stuff. It's coming. That's another thing I'm working on is a brand. So busy man.
Okay.